Oh, sorry. Okay. Hello, everybody. Happy Tuesday! And you know what Tuesday means. Today we are doing reading. So super excited about that because I get a ton of questions about reading and English in addition to the math and the science. So hopefully you are ready and raring to go to learn about all things reading when it comes to the ATI. So if this is your first time here with me, my name is Nurse Cheung. I've been a registered nurse now for over 13 years. My background is primarily critical care and emergency medicine, two of my faves. And not only do I teach ATIs, I've personally taken it. So I'm one of the few creators out there that teaches that actually has suffered with you. So I understand what it feels like to have to take this test, and hopefully we'll make it a little bit easier than I had it when I took mine. So I usually log in about, 15 to 30 minutes early to answer any questions that you have, provide any mentorship I can provide. If you're over from the TikTok side, we will get started with the live over there once we do the practice questions. So in the meantime, just hold tight, and we will definitely be bringing those up here momentarily. But this is your time. If you have any questions about the ATIs, nursing, really pretty much anything that I can hopefully help answer for you, this would be the time to ask. Hello, Dora. I got the study guide and it's been amazing so far. I love that you love it, Dora. We spent a lot of time. It took me a year to write, and we're currently in the process of updating it into version 2. So not on the horizon of being released at this moment, but it is something that we're actively working on based on community feedback of what they're seeing on the test. Hi, Demanda. Hi, Noi. You think English is more tough than reading? I think it's depending on the person, Michael. I personally found that English was a little bit more difficult than the reading section because I did not study for it. I didn't think it was important. I figured I know English. I should be okay. And then I'm tired by the time that I got to the end. It just kind of blew up in my face. So it really depends on the person. You're either like okay at reading or you're okay at English. It's always like kind of one or the other. Hi, Sarah. Hi, Chica. Hi, Gadiha. So April 1st, Sheila, no, I failed my test, but today came back to let you know that I passed. Yes, Sheila, huge congratulations. I do remember you. I do remember your face and your name, so I'm super incredibly proud of you for achieving it, right? That's why I said back then, it's, delayed but never denied. Give yourself some time, give yourself some grace, focus in on that stuff that was a little bit more difficult and knock it out of the water the next time. And you did exactly that. So huge congratulations to you, Sheila. Brianna, taking mine next Tuesday. That's exciting. And Kita says, I'm taking mine tomorrow. Yes. Sarah says, I'm scheduled for my test on Friday, but I'm not ready. No, I feel like rescheduling, but I just want to get it over with and see if I pass. That would be my recommendation. But listen, if you're just to the point where you're like, I don't feel prepared for this test and I just don't think I can do it, it's okay to reschedule it. But what I would say is don't reschedule it so many times that you never take it, right? So my thing is if you have the availability to do so, take it now while you have that availability. Knock it out of the water. And worst case scenario, if you were unsuccessful the first time around, at least you have a demographic of the stuff that you need to actually study to help boost your score up, and you'll have a good study plan moving forward. Kadia says, mine is next Friday. Hi, Sabrina. So tonight we're going to be going over reading, more specifically craft and structure. So things like vocab and word relationship I won't be able to get to tonight because that's not in the stuff that we had scheduled for. But I do have lives that I've previously done on vocab and word relationship, so highly recommend going back and watching those. Hi, Cakes. How many questions are on the reading section? Great question. So on the actual test itself, there's 45 questions, and you have 55 minutes to answer those questions. Of that 45, 6 are unscored, meaning that they have, what is the word I'm looking for? I don't want to say test questions. They have questions that they are trying to see if the community that's taking the ATIs knows or not, to see if they're good questions to add for the next version. So that's the reason they do it. Don't freak out if throw something at you from out of nowhere and you're like, what is this? I didn't study any of this. Just know that usually those questions are unscored. Tracy, I do feel better. I was feeling so bad last week, y'all. But I feel so much better now. Thank you. Yeah, I took the rest of the ATI TEAS app and it was pretty tough, but because I haven't really went over it. Yeah, it's just one of those things, right? Because we spend so much time worrying about math and science and if we're going to be in a position that we're going to annihilate those two sections or if we're going to, need a little extra assistance. We just spend a lot of time there. So reading and English kind of get thrown by the wayside and we don't spend a lot of time in there, but it is very, very important to study those areas because they will make or break your score for sure. How long is the live? We do the live for 2 hours. So we officially start with the practice questions around like 7:05 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I usually log in just like a little bit early to answer any questions that you have, provide any mentorship. Bianca says, I've been watching your video so I can take mine soon. You've got this, Bianca. Uh-oh. My screen is buffering. Is it buffering for you?
Yeah.
No, I have no data. No, I still have no data. I know. It's trying to reconnect, but see, over on my other side, it's fine. It's not showing any issues. It's not even telling me that I'm dropping frames or any of that. Did it stop?
You on the right Wi-Fi?
I only have one on. I don't have the other one connected.
Oh, you back-ish.
It just says that I have an error, though.
Can you say something?
Hello, hello. Can you hear me? I know that it got a little funky there for a second.
Oh, yeah, you're back.
Interesting. I'm just like, it looks very like shaky. Fingers crossed it's working okay. I will tell you all that we have ordered our new internet. I'm not going to say the date the new internet is coming because I don't want to jinx it. But just know that I have requested new internet. The lines have gone in, and now I just have to wait for them to come install it. So hopefully, fingers crossed, very soon we have very, very high-speed fiber internet. Hi, Kimberly. I'm going to study now for the test. Ugh, so nervous. You've got this, Francesca. You've got this. Is the math and science as scary as it sounds? I think the thing is that if it's been a little bit since you have maybe done your prerequisites when it comes to science, or maybe you're just not necessarily as strong in the science section, it can seem very scary. I think that's what the biggest problem is when it comes to those sections. If you really put in the time and the dedication that's needed and really understand concepts and why things are happening and how they correlate with other things, if you can really start to build that critical thinking, you're going to set yourself ahead. So it doesn't need to be scary. Dave says, still studying until July 8th. You've got this. Hopefully I have my new internet before that. Kimberly says, so excited. I will tell you, full transparency, we have an extremely bad storm that's about to come through right now. I'm looking out the window at it, and it's should be a little dark. So just an FYI, we've got some very dark blue clouds heading our way. Hopefully that does not affect the internet. I think that's what the problem is and why we're seeing a little bit of some issues tonight, but fingers crossed it doesn't affect us too bad. Kita's going to jump in your brain. That would be great. Hey, I would give you all my brain if I could. I only have 10 days of study. Really nervous about it because I only have one chance to take it and pass. No. We'll take all your recommended advices and use it to get a proficient score on all levels. Well, I wish you the best of luck with that. 10 days is going to be definitely a little bit of a challenge, but I'm sure that you're putting in the time right now because of your anxiety to get it going, right? Is a TEAS 4 hours with an hour for each section. So no, Tracy, it's a little bit different than that. So the total TEAS test is 209 minutes. The reading section, you have 55 minutes to do that section. Math, you have 57. Science, you get 60. But here's the kicker. English, you only get 37. So a little bit more than a half hour. Because you only have 37 questions. So they do like a minute to minute, like a 1-to-1 ratio when it comes to question and minutes. So close with a lot of things, but not quite. What if you get the unscored question right and then score poor in the actual questions? Are they going to consider adding the unscored ones? No. No, I wish I could tell you absolutely, but no. The unscored ones are just simply unscored. Whether you get them right or wrong, it doesn't affect your grade. Because think about it, if you were to get them wrong, you wouldn't want them to count them as wrong, right? So that's what they kind of do. They're just kind of like experimental questions to figure out if it's going to be good questions for the next test. Oh no, Hoochie Mama Wi-Fi. I know. That darn Hoochie Mama's stealing my Wi-Fi again. I'm retaking my TEAS next Monday. I'm really nervous. It's my last chance. You've got this, Danny. Dorothy, I took my TEAS test today and I received a proficient. But I'm gonna try again for a more advanced score. You helped me so much with the chemistry. Thank you for your videos. You are absolutely welcome, Dorothy. Hey, huge congratulations on getting a proficient score, right? That in and of itself is a huge achievement. So make sure you take time to celebrate that, even though you're gonna go back and take it again. Hi, Sarah. Bronx, no! I have returned from my break and I wanted to come back and say that I did not get accepted into the nursing program with 60% and willing to try again, retaking the test for a higher score. That's okay. That's okay. I like that you have the positive attitude of delayed but not denied, right? So even though you were technically successful, you still applied to just see what happened. And you're not going to let that get in your way. You were going to push forward and you were going to knock them out of the water the next time around. I believe in you, Bronx. You've got this. The freebies, yes. So if you want to get the freebies, that includes the 30-day study planner. There's a math conversion cheat sheet of the conversions you need to know. There's blood flow through the heart, and then a very, very in-depth, detailed outline of the endocrine hormone systems. Highly, highly, highly recommend that you join that. So if that was something you were interested in, Mr. Cheung just put it in the chat. But this is also the copy of the link specifically that you can type into your browser to join. Here's the deal. It's a 3-step process in order for you to get the cheat sheets. So number one, this is going to be the page that pops up when you go to this link. So you have to put in your email address, of course, and then click confirm. Immediately, maybe like 5 minutes after you do that, you're going to get this email in your inbox, and you're going to have to say, yes, you want to subscribe to the email list. When you do that, this is going to pop up. You have to confirm that you're not a robot, right? Confirm you're not a robot, hit the subscribe button, and you're good to go. Here's what I will say. If you do not do that within 3 hours of receiving the email, you're going to have to sign up again. So we've had a lot of people that wanted to get the freebie. They want to get the 30-day study planner and then, of course, the cheat sheets, and reached out and said, I never received anything. That was because they didn't go through that 3-step process or they waited longer than 3 hours. So yes, you will have to make sure you do that within 3 hours and do these 3 steps in order to get those freebies. We do have more coming. I am working on them. It's a little bit difficult right now because me and Mr. Cheung have a whole bunch going on professionally as well as doing this. And I also want to make sure I'm getting those videos out as well. So just know that they will be coming fairly soon, but we will definitely be having more. But right now we've got a really, really good breakdown based on what the community was requesting. So if it is something that you were interested, highly recommend that. And then, of course, for those of you who are asking about the study guides, yes, they are still on sale. You are still able to get them. Just a little bit of background for those of you who maybe don't know about the study guides and you're like, oh, why should I purchase this? Because I know there's a bunch of stuff going on online right now saying there's a bunch of free resources, just use that. Here's the deal. Back in 2022, and even now to this day, with a lot of the other study guides that are out there, we have seen a lot of people be unsuccessful when it comes to the ATITs. Why? Because they changed from version 6 to version 7 and made it super more difficult. Now, not only do you have to memorize information, but you also have to apply that information in order to get a lot of these questions correct. Just ask anybody in here who has taken it before. You will have to use application in order to answer these questions. So what I did is I took a year from 2022 to 2023, and I interviewed thousands and thousands of students who came before you to ask them, what were you seeing? What was the most prevalent? What did you wish you knew that the other study guides didn't cover? And that's where these study guides came into play, and that's where they were born. So the videos online on my YouTube channel help tremendously, but of course there's additional information you're going to need to know and how to apply it. It's really difficult to do that, in a 30-minute video. So that's where the study guides come into play. So there's two different kinds of study guides. There is a dark blue study guide and there is a light blue study guide. All of it's at nursecheungstore.com. So the dark blue study guide is our digital study guide. It's not a physical study guide, it's digital, but it has everything you need to know when it comes to the ATITs. So I'm talking about a full comprehensive breakdown of reading, math, science, English, mnemonics, study tips, color, pretty, beautiful illustrations, lots and lots and lots of resources in those study guides. There's also 170 question practice tests in there because if you know me, my number one thing I tell you to do is you need to take that practice test before you start studying. Don't study stuff you already know. That's just a complete waste of your time. Study the stuff that you're struggling with in order to boost your score up. So you get your question, your answer, and the rationale behind why the answer is correct, because it is very important to understand the rationale so that you can apply your knowledge when you take the actual test. In addition to that, there's a 30-day study planner, and y'all, I am in love with this study planner. I just recently updated, so this is study planner version 2. It's got a lot of information in there about what the TEAS test is, how many questions it is, what's the breakdown in time and questions for each section, what each section is going to cover. There's a 30-day calendar of how I suggest to study in order to help you feel a little bit more confident when it comes to the TEAS. There's different ways, techniques that I recommend in studying, and then of course a whole frequently asked question section for the most frequent questions that we get whenever people reach out about the ATITs. So a lot of really, really good information in there. That in and of itself is really helpful from the people that have been using it so far. But yeah, that's everything that's included in the comprehensive breakdown guide. A lot of people have used it. A lot of people found success with it. But we did have some people that would reach out and said, hey, I want to do more practice questions because I'm just not quite maybe getting this concept and I need more practice. And that is where our practice question guide came into play. It has 3,500 practice questions in it. Reading has 650, math has 900 plus, science has 1,000 plus, and English has 850 plus practice questions. And here's the deal. We did it very different than what you'll typically see. So typically when you're taking practice questions, it's just a whole bunch of practice questions that are just very random. They don't really follow like a cohesive kind of learning strategy. I don't study well that way, and I know that a lot of you don't study well that way, so we did ours a little bit different. We broke it down by the main topic, your reading, your math, your science, and your English, and then we broke it down by these subtopics. So if you're struggling with main idea, there's an entire section on that. If you're struggling with fractions, an entire section on that. If you're struggling with chemical reactions or maybe compound, simple, complex sentences, entire sections on that. Because I don't want you to have to waste your time just trying to find study material on specific concepts that you're trying to learn now instead of just taking random practice questions and not really retaining any of the information. So highly recommend that if it was something that you were wanting to use for your study, this would be what I would use. The dark blue study guide by itself, I should say both of them by themselves, are $60. But whenever we do these lives, we drop this down to $50 for just the dark blue study guide, so you can save yourself a little extra moolah. You're just going to use this discount code, that NCWS discount code. That'll drop it down once you put it into your cart. Now, if you want to bundle them together, typically it's $120, but we drop it down to $90 every time we do this live. So you get the dark blue study guide and the light blue study guide together, and you're just going to use this NC bundle code to use them together. The guides never expire. when we do release our version 2, you all will get access to version 2. You won't have to worry about repurchasing it again. Don't worry. And then, of course, if it's a little bit too much up front, that's okay. We do have the installment plan as well. You can break it down into 4 easy installment payments. You don't have to worry about paying it all up front. You can pay it off over time, and you'll still get access to your study guides immediately once you purchase them. They are available from now until tomorrow night at midnight. Once tomorrow night at midnight comes, they'll be gone. They'll be finite. They will be no mess. So if it was something you wanted, absolutely, definitely recommend these study guides. Of course, I'm biased because they're mine, but we have helped so many people pass. The lowest score we've seen is a 70%, but we've got all the way up to 98.7. Our average lately has been somewhere between 84 to like 90%. And we had somebody today get, was it a 95.3?
Yeah.
Somebody today got a 95.3 using the study guides and just annihilated it. So if it is something that you're wanting to invest in, it is something that you are wanting to use to hopefully alleviate some stress about this stupid test that we all have to take in order to get into our programs, highly recommend that you use study materials that's going to be helpful for you in understanding concepts that are going on now, not concepts that happened a long time ago that are no longer relevant when it comes to the ATI TEAS version 7. Ebony says sometimes things that cost to help us further education does not really work. What makes you very certain that your material will help you with struggling like myself? So here's the thing, Ebony. Nobody is ever going to guarantee that you're going to be able to pass because it's really up to you, right? So as educators, as anybody online, we're going to provide you with the materials to help you be successful, but it's about what you do as an individual, right? Are you doing the practice questions? Are you reviewing? Are you deep diving into concepts? Are you doing a lot of practice, right? It's all going to be about you as an individual. And then, of course, if something was to come up, like we've had students reached out that said, hey, I was successful, but this would have been helpful for the next generation. That's what we do. We add that information in there too. So it's really up to, of course, us as an educator to give you the information, and then, of course, you as the person that's studying to make sure that you're putting in the time. I can tell you, I recently had somebody that reached out to me that said they failed. And I said, well, what is failing? They said that they got a 70%, but they needed to get a 90% because they were going into a competitive school. Well, 70% is still a really good score, but I understand if you're going to a competitive school, you need 90. I said, how did you study? They said, well, I studied for a month. Tell me your study habits. They said, well, I would study once a week. I can't help you if you're only studying once a week, right? You've got to put in the time. You've got to really be spending that 2 to 8 hours a day, whatever you have to put in, right? Unfortunately, and I'll just tell you from personal experience, when I went into nursing school, I had no life right before nursing school until right after nursing school because I spent so much time studying for this TEAS. And then, of course, in nursing school, my friends in nursing school became my second family because I literally had no social life. I couldn't do anything. And that, unfortunately, is something that a lot of people have to learn, and they've got to get into that program. And I can't teach that. It's really how that person, how much that person wants it. You know, how much do you want this, right? And how much time are you going to put in to make this happen? Ebony says, I appreciate that need to hear that. Absolutely. Noy says, geez, 90s, I need that so bad. See, Noy is another example of somebody who needs at least a 90% in order to get into their school, right? So everybody's passing looks very different. Hi, Edna. Hi, Rhonda. Hi, Uriah. I bought the bundle, but I did not receive the email. Okay, so Mr. Cheung put in the email, so team@nursecheung.com. Sometimes, like when we buy things, sometimes we add an extra period someplace, or maybe like if you Apple Paid, sometimes like your email isn't correct. So just reach out to team@nursecheung, and they can look it up and make sure to get it to you as quickly as possible. And can you download it onto different devices? Yes, you can. You can download it, you can print it, you know, you can do whatever works best for you when it comes to your study habits. Just going through, make sure I didn't miss any questions.